Brumbies, guys. Thank you.
G'day friends and foes, I'm Arjay Martin and this is TINLA, or This Is Not Legal Advice, episode 32 I think. And we're here at Surfers Paradise and protesting. I've come across another lovely person that's exercising her rights to protest. So I thought I'd just do a little interview with her. So, g'day, you want to show your signs too?
Hello, how you going there? This sign here says, "Save the Brumbies now."
Yep.
It's our national Australia heritage, our Brumbies, our beautiful Brumbies, our horses.
Yeah, so what's your name?
My name's Carrie,
Okay.
C-A-R-R-I-E.
Yep, and why is it important for you to save Brumbies? And what are Brumbies for people that don't know what they are for Australian slang or whatever?
Okay, so it's really passionate, I'm really passionate about the cause because I grew up with horses.
Yep.
I had Brumbies I used to let into our property to graze. I think my dad used to come home and say, "What are the Brumbies doing again?" because he thought I was going to have 10 of them on my property, you know. We only had 25 acres, but did what I could back then. So now I don't have horses right now. I live in a property on the Gold Coast that doesn't have land. But I've purchased myself a Brumbie this week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, from Gatton.
Yep.
Look, today we're holding this public assembly, peaceful assembly organised by the police. I've got passionate police about this as well. We're here at the Anzac Lest We Forget area at Surfers Paradise. Come on down if you're interested. Look, the reason I'm here is, look, 200 years ago there were light horses let go. There were draft horses, working horses, all types of horses let go into our Kosciuszko National Park and other parks around Australia. Over the 200 years they've adapted to our environment. We have the strongest of the strongest horses now. They're not pests, as the Victorian Government Environment Minister wants to say, as the scientific, I guess, not so much greenies, but, you know, scientific study is supposed to say, look, there's an emotional history here. They're our national heritage. We wouldn't be here, this city wouldn't be here, only for our horses.
Yeah, and what are Brumbies?
So Brumbies are horses, like I said, that have been let go years ago. They're adapted to our environment. Sometimes they might come, run onto some roads in areas where it is civilization. So people in those areas come and collect them. These horses can be saved. These 4,000 horses that they're about to kill in Victoria can be saved, but the government don't want to look hard enough at it. I'm here today to say, let's make this a federal issue. Let's sit down at the table and talk, negotiate, problem solve. Let's find an answer for our Brumbies because they worked hard. They're Australian human companions. Look, there's people bimping all day here. There's passionate people. Listen to us, our Australian government.
Yeah, and for any American...
Thank you. That's our fire brigade. They love horses too.
Yeah, so for any American viewers, a Brumbie, what you would call them, is a Mustang or a wild horse.
Oh yes, the beautiful Mustangs, yes.
And you also mentioned light horses. Do you want to explain that, or I can if you like, or whatever?
Well, years ago, when the gentlemen had to go to war and so forth, sometimes they had to actually let the horses go into some of these. They just had to let them go.
Yep.
And basically, that was the beginning of our Brumbies. So over the years, the toughest of the tough survived. These days, if you purchase a horse for free, tax donation, you get your money back. And also, so basically they don't need rugging, they don't need their feet done. They're mostly healthy animals. 80% of them can be broken in. They're not pests. Some of them are so scared with trauma because helicopters have come in and shot them, and
yeah.
there's trucks that come in and take the mothers away. Babies are running along the trucks. This is not good enough. We're humans, we need to respect our life, our animals. We've got the privilege here as humans, and this is wrong, and I'm standing up today because I'm passionate about the cause.
Yep, and how many Brumbies would there be in the Victorian Highlands? So that's basically between Victoria and New South Wales, there's
well, they haven't given us exact numbers, and that's what we want as well, but I think there's in the vicinity of around about 5,000, but they want to cull 4,000. I think they want to eventually get it down to 500 horses. That's not many. I've heard people say, we love the horses there. Let's walk But when we go through these state forests, we want to show our kids the horses. Look, you know, and the other thing is too, because they're saying it's the environment, these horses were pushed in there because of fires and floods and, fires and droughts and all sorts of things. But let's sit down and sort this out. I bet you there's thousands of people in Australia that once they knew with our vast land we have here, they would take one or two for their paddocks if they knew this.
Yeah.
But the government haven't told the people of Australia.
And a lot of people say with horses that they do make environmental damage with their hooves and whatever, so basically it makes erosion. Yet in your pictures that doesn't seem to be the case. You know, you got some lovely, I don't know, it looks like heather kind of, but I'm sure it's probably not heather. But you know, it's not like it's all like a desert or just dirt.
Exactly.
Besides in a bottom picture perhaps.
Exactly. Look, the fact that they probably were forced into one area might have made it a little bit. I'll give you this example. So I had a horse. If there was a drought on, they ate a little bit more in the paddock.
Yeah.
They might have tried to eat things that they normally wouldn't eat.
Yep.
But generally, horses eat grass.
Yeah.
There's actually studies elsewhere in Australia that contradict our Australian scientific studies that say that the horses can be actually a positive outlook for our Australian land.
Yep.
And so you know, we need to look at this harder. We need to get the Australian the Australian Horse Brumby Association involved. We need to solve this with our horse people.
Yep.
These people that go in, these men that are given a job to go in and take them out, they go and grab 10 horses, but they grab mothers. They're taken away in carts to go to Knackery for dog food, but their babies are running along the trunks. This is Australia, guys. We need to stand up.
And with, how can I put that? So if anyone gets out an old plastic $10 note too, this is something interesting. You can, if you get a microscope or a magnifying glass, you can actually read a poem which is about Brumbies, which is Clancy of the Overflow.
Oh, beautiful.
So that would be really cool if people got out their, you know, $10 notes. I'm not sure if it's on the super new ones where they've got, you know, see-through windows or extra windows or whatever. But Australia was built on the backs of horses, of course. We didn't have cars and tractors and whatever until relatively recently.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, it's an Australian icon. Yet we have the Victorian government that's hell-bent on slaughtering the horses, was it Carrie?
Yes.
As Carrie said, you know, these horses can be housed elsewhere. In terms of that, how big of a property would someone need, or an enclosure or whatever, to keep the horse happy, basically?
Oh, look, if someone had an acre of land, there's enough there to keep one or two of these horses. You probably have to hand feed a little bit if you didn't have a lot of grass, but yeah, that's all you need.
That's cool. And if you're not feeding them grass and you're feeding them like oats and, you know, chaff and whatever, lucerne, how much does it cost to have a horse per year nowadays?
Well, each year it changes with the season according to how the lucerne and chaff have grown.
Yeah.
Look, it could be a little bit more expensive at the moment. I'm not sure. Probably about $25 a bale or something for lucerne and chaff.
Yeah, and
which is probably about 12 bales.
And how long does that last?
So that'd last you about 2 weeks, I think, because that's about a bale a day. About 14, about a bale a day. It lasted 2 weeks.
Fair enough. And just for your information and people watching as well, my family used to have racehorses for many years, including we had one that ran in the Melbourne Cup before we bought it. It came dead last in 1983, and it was a gelding called Combat. But to save the horse from being sent to the Knackery, which is basically a dog food factory, that we bought the horse. And of course, being a gelding, he couldn't make babies, but his heart was actually strained in the race because a jockey overrode it, so you know, would have had a heart attack if it had another race sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's interesting. And
that's another area of concern is our race horses, but that's another whole topic.
So if you want, the battery's about to die, but may as well just keep going until it dies. But in terms of race horses, do you not think that if, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but in New South Wales, Hello, you can go in there if you want. You want to show your little puppy dog? If you got permission?
Oh, he's a little animal lover. This is my granddaughter. This is Remy.
Remy, and what's the doggy's name?
I'm not sure, it's not mine.
Oh, is it a Chihuahua?
It belongs to another lady who might be interested in taking a few Brumbies.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is it a Chihuahua?
Yes.
So Chihuahua.
Oh.
He's 3 years old, she told me.
Oh, fair enough. So, as I was saying, Carrie, in New South Wales they banned greyhounds for a short period of time until it was worked out that maybe it wasn't legal how they banned them. But that made a lot of problems where people had these expensive animals to feed and house and whatever, and some, you know, champion ones were just sold to other states or whatever. But just say hypothetically, if horse racing was banned tomorrow, then don't you think that potentially tomorrow there would be 2 million dead horses in Australia because they've got no value in today's society? I don't mean no value at all. I mean that compared to, you know, before we had cars and tractors and horses, you know, you'd go on your horse and ride to the dance or whatever to go get a husband or wife or something like that. But now they don't have so much utility value. Sure, horses are awesome anyway.
Exactly. It's all about greed and money.
Yeah, but do you think that if, say, horse racing was banned tomorrow, that, you know, there wouldn't be a need for so many horses and basically there would be a whole lot of dog food made in rapid
Oh my goodness, if
time?
they were banned tomorrow, all they'd be doing was going to dog food, and people wouldn't be responsible and caring and loving. They just, you know,
So therefore, is it better not banning it? And I would like to say, just because a lot of people don't realise this, that people that do have racehorses, like 99.99% of them probably, or, you know, whatever arbitrary figure.
Thank you. It's a passionate people in service paradise.
Yeah. So, you know, nearly all horse owners, just same as nearly all greyhound owners, aren't a bunch of assholes. But of course there are the bad ones. You know, you see stories about neglected horses and the horses haven't been fed for, you know, a few months and they're skin and bones and that kind of thing. But is it like throwing out the baby with the bathwater if, say, horse racing was banned?
I think so. I don't think there's any issues with racing itself. It's how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, if people are responsible, if people are caring and loving, it can be done in a great way. I don't see a major... Horses love racing. It's not... I don't see an issue with the horses being... if horses are getting treated badly, you know, they'll act up.
Yeah, like some people use a jigger, which is like a electronic battery, like a, what would you call that, like a taser thing to make horses run faster and stuff like that.
Not appropriate.
Yeah, of course. And then also another interesting issue with horse racing is that horses basically have very brittle bones, and if a horse breaks its legs, it's a death sentence. So there was a famous horse, I don't know, 1980s or something like that. There was a champion that broke its leg in a horse race, and instead of just putting the horse down, which invariably happens because there's seen to be futility in trying to allow the horse's leg to grow back, but they basically floated this horse in like a hydro tank for, I don't know, months or something like that, and as soon as they drained the water, the horse's leg just broke again, even though it was fused together because... You know, so is there anything that can be done about that, or is it just like, you know, if a horse was in the wild and fell over or fell into a hole, it would break its leg and die as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the broken leg horses. I'm just not completely sure about that, sorry.
Fair enough, that's fine. And anything else you'd like to add before the battery dies?
I think that's about it. I think we've shown how passionate we are about the cause. Let the Australian people decide, give the chance to the Australian people to grab some of these free Brumbies. They're in Australia. They're in Queensland. This is a peaceful protest organised by the police today.
Yep.
So just let's take a look at this.
And with the saving the Brumbies in particular with Victoria, when is the deadline?
Well, on Friday it was overturned. On Friday it was the Brumbie Association. I think there's a farmer down there that's trying to take them to court. I think they're trying to fundraise now to overturn and go to the High Court.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
So we've stopped it for now, but there's not much time left. The Australian public need to get on side.
Yep, okay, thank you. And I'll just turn the camera around to me and add a couple of comments. Also, another